Good morning. This looks like the closing keynote. The previous session in this room before me had 34 people. So you can guess how it looks like with 34 people in a room size like this. So awesome. So I kind of like anytime you have a session after the party, it's always a little bit exciting if anyone shows up, but I'm happy to see so many of you. So great that you made it. The session is called 45 Life Hacks of Windows OS in 45 minutes. For those of you who haven't been at Ignite last year, I did a session like this. This is the 2019 edition. I started off by sending Microsoft a proposal for the session, and it was titled 75 Life Hacks in 75 minutes. Then Microsoft decided that external speakers are not worthy of having 75-minute sessions, so they cut 75-minute sessions to only Microsoft speakers, and community speakers only get 45 minutes. So they made, without asking me, they changed it to 75 life hacks in 45 minutes. Then I begged them to at least change it to 45 in 45, okay? But I had like 75 done already, so I only made through maybe 35 or something like that, so I had like leftovers. No, not leftovers. Life hack number 1, transparent screensaver, okay? If you need to leave your computer unattended on a stage, it's better to have it locked, okay? So transparent screensavers, you can find few online to pay for, and then there's one at GitHub which is free. If you do not know who I am, my name is Sami Laiho, I'm from Finland. I teach Windows internals, Windows security, and troubleshooting. I've been doing this for more than half of my life currently. If you need to reach me, please follow me on Twitter, and there's my email address. You might need that block entry in just a second, okay? If you're interested in undisclosed security weaknesses of Windows, that block might come in handy, okay? Whenever I come in front of an audience, I always take some time to teach people about our dear nation. So I wanted to give you a few facts about Finland, okay? And everyone always asks about the flag, so there you go. Finland is a really, really nice place. I don't know if you have seen this. This is from a very well-known movie, which is actually talks about Finland. Housekeeping, I'll exchange business cards for swag. I've had all sorts of swag during the years, going to beanies and lids and t-shirts and stickers and sunglasses, and now we're up for shot glasses, okay? It's the word for the Finnish administrator. That's how you log on to a Finnish Windows, okay? That's not a joke. Good thing is we don't need any passwords, okay? There's a lot of these. I gave out like 300 already. They go very fast, especially when every one of you is so nice that they all take 4, okay? So just please, try to stick to one. I'm best to say that yesterday I was walking with 4 of those lightsabers in my bag. But please try to just take one, okay? What I'm going to show you is based on teaching. I teach classes every week on Windows internals. Many people tell me that they get a lot of tips from me, but for me, my job is a treasure chest full of ideas, because I speak to so many different people all the time from different companies around the world, which means I, every week, get so many tips, okay? And that's why I built these sessions. I wanted to share those tips that I learn in those classrooms, all right? People do ask me, how do you learn this? Well, when you go to a very nice paradise destination in the Caribbean Sea, for example, what would you do if you had 3 weeks in paradise? So, I hope you have a life. Someone gave me a tip, if you want to get good reviews, add nudity. So I'm trying, okay? So this session is demos only. I'm going to use a spreadsheet. This is actually a picture of last year's spreadsheet, so I got through to some part of that. It's my tips, my notes in Finnish, which means everyone asks me after this session, could you please share the Excel? If you want the Excel, just send me an email. I will gladly send you the Excel. Can you figure out anything of it? Not that sure. But if you want it, why not? Okay, so we're going to start going through this. And before, I don't know if any one of you saw my sessions last year, I got into slight trouble. There were live animals on stage, which I was not supposed to do. So this time I don't want to be thrown out of the conference, and I want to just secure my bag. So the first demo I'm going to show you is a totally undisclosed vulnerability of Windows, but I do this ethically, which means I tried my best. I notified Microsoft that there is a known problem, I mean unknown, but I found a problem and I would like them to fix it. They wouldn't. They say it's not a problem. Then this thing was found by a Finnish guy that we're just going to call Mr. T. And Mr. T pointed me to this and said, do you, Sami, really think this should happen? And I said, absolutely not. Then I called a guy at Microsoft. We'll call him Mr. N. And Mr. N, I asked him, he's a very well-known person at Microsoft, so I asked him that Microsoft is not willing to fix this. Do you think it's a problem? And he said, yes, it's a problem. So if they're not going to fix it, even if I ask them, should I just go on a big stage at Ignite and show it to everyone to enforce my message? And he said, I quote, light them on fire. Okay? So, there is a weakness in a .NET framework API. We have a publicly available thing from MCP magazine, for example. You can do this with PowerShell, you can do this with different kinds of scripting engines or code. I'm going to do this with PowerShell. You can go and download this. I have documented everything on my blog, so if you want to get information on this, there is a blog which I just released before the session. You can get the information from here. But let's see this in action, okay? So we have a person here called Test. Okay, it's just a normal user on a machine here, okay? Test is looking at a company file share. And the company file share, which we have here, is a normal home share, okay? We all know, like, you got your people in people's home share, okay? So it's shared out. You can see the share permissions here. The share permissions say that everyone only has read access, okay? Fair enough, that's the default one. Our security says that administrators have full control, but normal domain users, like this person on the other side, they don't actually have anything. I mean, they do have, but they only have list folder, because this is a home share, which means everyone will get their personal folders after this, okay? Here we have an administrator user who has logged on, and he has his own share here, Mr. Administrator, okay? It's the only access control that we have. Administrator, full control. Test, nothing. But to make it even worse, what I've done is I have a subfolder here, and this subfolder I have actually explicitly denied any kind of read permissions from that user. This person here has absolutely no user rights to this location, And on top of that is explicitly denied of reading anything. Okay? Yet, we'll go here and we'll load a module first. So that's the one I downloaded from the internet. Okay, so filesystem.psm1, that's loaded. I've also enabled the execution policy to allow scripts. And then after that, we will just start a file system watcher looking at that folder that you see on the server. So I'm not even on the server, I'm totally remote, but I'm just looking at that share. Okay, and that starts. Now what happens after that is, if you start doing anything here, like let's create a text document. Okay, secret. Oh, okay, nice. Now, let's create a folder first, okay? Subfolder. Oh, there's already one named that. Well, anyway, and then we go there. We're going to create some data. Let's just do file list, whatever. Okay. So as you can see, it goes through NTFS permissions, viewing everything, although you have no permissions to it. Now, Microsoft says this is not a problem because they say file names don't need to be protected. Only data. Does anyone in this room agree? Okay, good. Because that's what I was trying to tell them. Like, you could have a lot of things in that file name. Like, so if I'll rename this firing all Helsinki employees, okay? Or what if I'll do, let's do IPO counts, okay? I mean, I think you can, I think this is the same as Microsoft would say that anyone can read your email, but only the subject. Okay? I hope now that that's on video, if they will ever publish this video, which tends to happen that they don't in my case, I hope it enforces the, but it's a very nice life hack. You can look at your boss's files, for example. It's very convenient. And if you learn anything from this session, remember, never use descriptive file names, okay? Just don't, okay? Because they're not secret. They're just fine by Microsoft for anyone to know them. Okay, we will continue with the list. Where's my list? That was PowerShell hack. Notepad versus OneNote. You know, I used PowerShell, which is quite good for me. I'm not a very big PowerShell user. And I teach these classes all around the world. And I used to be 20 when I started teaching. I was 20 years old when I started teaching people how Active Directory should be used and blah, 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 blah. And all my students were 40. It's a little bit. Nowadays, when I see my godson, for example, who's like 20, I'm like, who would ever listen to a kid like that? But I was very confident, but it took a while to kind of convince my customers that I know what I'm talking about, although I am half of their age. Nowadays, it has switched. I'm 40, and my students are 20. And now I'm an old fart, okay? So when I try to tell them something, I'm like, you know, when you go to CMD and you do this. Oh, don't even need to elevate that. I go to CMD and then I type ipconfig and then I have someone in the audience always and they're like, Sami, why don't you use PowerShell? PowerShell. So annoying. Also, sometimes when I take notes, I use Notepad, okay? I always use Notepad. I have used it for decades. But now I have those young people in the classroom, and they're all like, Sami, why don't you use OneNote? I have an in-your-face answer to anyone who tells you that, okay? Here we have OneNote, all right? We have OneNote, we got Notepad. What you do then is, I need to elevate. Take VM map from sysinternals. Open up. First we'll open up OneNote. Okay? OneNote, for those people who use OneNote, OneNote has 3.3 gigs of free memory. Okay? Let's look at Notepad. Notepad has 128 terabytes. Okay? So there are reasons. There's a few life hacks incorporated into this demo. One of them being Notepad also does something that OneNote does not, which is it has a lock mode. I don't know how many of you know it, but if you have Notepad and you type in .log, if you type .log on the first line, nothing else, and then you save it to my desktop, and it's called logbook, for example, whatever. And then whenever you go and you open up this, I think I actually hid all my files from desktop because people are not supposed to save anything on the desktops. What? You all do it, come on. Okay, so logbook, now whenever you open up that file, it automatically timestamps, okay? So that's Notepad's lock mode, okay? And now, if your Notepad or anything starts leaking, VMAP is your go-to tool. Well, honestly, a very, very important life hack. If you start looking at VMAP, and for example, if we will open up Notepad, let's actually just open it from here. If you open up Notepad, and Notepad starts to use quite a lot of memory, so let's say select process, and we have to do this again. So Notepad, and now Notepad shows you that it's currently using 123 megs of committed memory, okay? Then I'll just go and do something in Notepad, like open up Explorer, for example, like this. If you go back here, press F5, we'll see it uses quite a lot more now. But the good thing about this is the timeline. If you go to timeline and you just use your mouse and you paint over starting point and ending point, let go of your mouse, and VMAP shows you how much memory you have used more or less. So if you're hunting down memory leaks of applications, a very, very important tool, okay? So timelining in VMAP. I am a very strong believer in the fact that people should not use admin rights when they log on to their machines. And last year, this ended up in me almost being banned. Anyway, I did a demo of, I've always done this for ages. I teach people how to use limited user and admin users. So I have my index finger is registered as a limited user on my fingerprint reader, and then I have an admin user, okay? And last year they double dared me, because I had already done this with facial recognition as well. So I have these Finnish järjestelmänvalvoja sunglasses so that you can be a normal user and an admin, okay? And then they said, you have to do, Sami, that's so old school, you have to do two-factor authentication. So last year I had a live hedgehog, because hedgehog have the same fingerprints as humans. So you can use a hedgehog to authenticate to your Windows machine, okay? Now anyway, no one should be logging on to a Windows machine with admin rights, but even if I tell my customers that you're not supposed to do this, they still do. I mean, the girls that have admin rights, they will start their day by logging on with the admin because it's so much easier. They don't want to go through trouble. What I have done is I have devised a cool method for this, okay? I have a group policy. I'm just going to show you the local policy here. You have to do you have to open up Microsoft Management Console because you need a user-based group policy. So with the user-based group policy, you can go Group Policy Object Editor, this one here. By the way, in Finnish, it's an easy word called ryhmäkäytäntöobjektieditori. So you go here, users, and the good thing about this is that you can do administrators, okay? Doesn't matter who it is, but as long as it's an admin, it gets this policy, okay? And in this policy, I have changed it so that administrative template system here has a custom user interface, okay? And I've set the custom user interface to be just the command prompt, okay? So now if I have my bad users who won't believe me and they take their machines and they start logging on, if they give their middle finger now to the machine because they think they're just lazy, your fingerprint couldn't, don't do this to me now. Hello, Homer. And what happens to Homer is, ta-da! Okay? So they can kind of like try to play against the rules, but then they're like, and I always get this call, Sami, I was trying to log on as a bye. Because then they remember that they're not supposed to log on, okay? So let's go and lock this and log on as a normal user. Hopefully it recognizes me. It does, okay? So that's a very easy tip for enforcing that people should not be logging on. I'm gonna be in so much trouble with this one. There is a known way of hacking Windows. Any Windows 10 machine, you can hack any kind of Windows machine, not just Windows 10, but you can always hack Windows very easily. And now the problem with this one is it's a demo that I have done for decades, okay? Actually, why am I logging on? Because I'm supposed to hack this. Let's go and just insert a media. So I'm gonna insert, I had sysinternals in, I'm gonna do just Windows 10 Enterprise version, whatever, it doesn't matter as long as it can read NTFS file system, and then I will just restart this. Now, for 18 years, I have started every session I have started with with kind of the same demo. What happened? I'm quite sure it did not show the press any key. If it did, I missed it. Okay, let's do that once more. I have done this demo for 18 years where you replace the sticky keys with a command prompt, okay? Just gonna check if this, we have an incorrect order for the boot. Yeah, these kind of things make it so much easier to do 45 demos in 45 minutes. Press any key. You know what I forgot to do in the morning? Yeah, someone knew it. I heard it. I'm sorry I forgot it. Even I preach about this and I still forgot it. Whenever you're on stage in a big show like this, we have demo gods and you always have to sacrifice a virtual machine for the demo gods, okay? Now we should be good. All right. So we have Windows PE here. I'm going to press Shift F10. Now, I have done this for 18 years. I started because it shows you the importance of BitLocker. Just you show your customer, if you don't have BitLocker, it only takes one command to hack any Windows box from Windows XP up to Server 2019 domain controllers. They're all hacked with a single command unless you have BitLocker. And I have always started with this. And now last August, I was at the Executive Briefing Center at Microsoft in a huge auditorium called Kodiak. And I'm there in front of a very, very important audience. And I'm just there like, okay, so we will just hack Windows. We replace the sticky keys with the CMD, and then you hit the Shift key 5 times like this. They fixed it. Like, first I asked them 18 years to fix it. And suddenly when Sami is in front of executive briefing center, I call that a targeted attack. Anyway, that's really difficult. I mean, the problem there, I mess up things all the time. Intentionally, I mess up things. I blue screen my machines and make you believe that just happened. Sami's machine crashed during the session. There's normally it's just an act, and I do it because I teach troubleshooting. I need to be able to blue screen machines when I want. Now, one thing I cannot control is if I really mess up something against the demo gods, I really mess up things, is my ears go totally red. It's like I can control myself very well. I've done public speaking for a long time. That one I can't do anything about it. My ears go totally red. And then there's Finnish people in the front row that know it, and they're all like, which makes it so much more hard. I'm like, so there I am in front of Kodiak and 400 Microsoft executives. I'm like, I had to come up with, I hacked it with group, to be honest, I hacked it with group policy. I really panicked. I had absolutely no idea, but I couldn't lose that demo. So what I did was I made a local group policy object on Windows 10, made it run startup scripts, net user Sami, password add, net local group, administrator Sami add. Then take the copy of your Windows System 32 group policy folder, put it on a USB key, take it to the other machine you want to hack, dump it in the same location, because Windows doesn't sign group policies, so you can do whatever you want and just dump it there and Windows will run it. So that's how I got through it, because I had to hack the local admin. But then when I had some time to figure things out, I invented a new method. Because, let's just do this, I'm gonna change this. I have a very old joke that I've always said to people is that if you really know Windows, then what you do is you set the screen color so that it's black on black, okay, which is called the ninja mode, where if you don't know what, you don't have to see what you write when you just feel what you write, okay? But now this is not this is an old joke, but what made this priceless was Johan Arvidmark from Sweden, because Johan had a priceless idea for this. He came to me and said, Sami, remember your years old Ninja Mode demo? I was like, yeah. I need to combine demos now, okay? And he took PowerShell, set the foreground color to be blue, background color to be blue, that's fine, but he changed the default error action of PowerShell to be a reboot. It's like, this is how you learn PowerShell. Can't see anything you write, and then when you mess up, it moves the box. Okay, we're not going to do Ninja Mode now, but I want you to see what I'm typing in. So let's find Windows first. I believe it's on the C drive. Go see Windows, System 32. And we're going to make a backup because this is a nice procedure I'm doing. I'm not an attacker here. I'm just helping out a relative or whatever. So I'm going to make a copy of sethc.exe, copy it to another folder. Very important that you do it this way. I mean, you can't do it like copy sethc.exe to sethc.back. You can't do that. You have to put it in another folder. I will show you in a second, okay? And then what we will do is the old hack would have been copy cmd.exe on top of sethc.exe. But now Microsoft fixed it, okay? Think about this. The achievements that we have in the security area with Microsoft, when it used to take you only one command to hack any Windows machine in the world, it now takes two. That's a 100% improvement, okay? So you have to go to C program data, Microsoft Windows Defender. Yes, I think it's platform. Find the newest platform that you have. Okay, this one has never updated Windows Defender. which means that then until Windows Defender is updated, Microsoft actually adheres to their own instructions on how to develop proper Win32 applications, which is that binary should only be stored in program files. But whenever Windows Defender upgrades itself for the first time, it stores everything in program data, which is totally against any instructions of coding properly. But this one is still okay, so let's see. Where's Windows Defender? It's here, that one. Oops. There we go. So rename MSMPEng. That one, okay? You have to rename that one. And rename that to whatever. I'm just going to do an underscore that way. Okay, so now it cannot use Defender. And then you just reboot the box. Okay, don't reboot it from there. And now the same method as before. I mean, I replaced the sticky keys with the CMD. So in this logon screen where you would normally hit Shift 5 times and you would get the sticky keys, if you now hit Shift 5 times, you still get the command prompt. Now the problem is that this command prompt is running as the root, okay? Which means you can do whatever you want, all right? Net user, hacker, 41, add, net local group, administrators, hacker, add, okay? If you don't like my command line Kung Fu, luckily in Windows you don't have to log on to use applications. You can just use computer management, okay? So computer management is then maybe, if you don't like that, then it's maybe easier just to do it, okay? That way. All right, so now we have a user. Now we're going to log on as that user. So .whack hacker 31. And this will take a while, as we all know. I did this last year on this session. I'm just going to give you a very sneak preview of what we did last year. What we did last year, you should watch that on the video. We've all seen this, okay? So what we did, we pissed off Michael Niehaus. Very badly, because Windows doesn't sign any language packs, which is insanely stupid, but that means you can make Windows talk whatever you want. You can change like the password and the username field to be the opposite, which means that whenever you type your password, it'll be visible, plus it's in event viewer in clear text, okay? But again, Microsoft says it's not an issue. It's kind of, I think, the same as the PowerShell stuff. Anyway, so we did this. We actually hacked the. No, come on. It would be really nice if this worked. Okay, that really is not what I intended to do. There we go. So when you log on, we hacked the language pack of first logon exe. All right, so that's actually happening in the background now. So that should be ready now. Okay, well, oh, geez. Don't you just love these? Yeah. I read these before, so I'm just going to click through. Anyway, now we have But now we're on the machine. Now the problem, of course, with this machine now is that it's still hacked. Okay? Still, if I hit the shift key 5 times, we're still going to get the command prompt, although we would, of course, assume that we would get the sticky keys, but it's still hacked. Okay? So now the problem with this one is that if I want to unhack this, let's do CMD. Come on. Still doing the first logon experience, which makes it a little bit slow. So we're going to elevate that command prompt. And let's try this out, okay? So I will try to replace the file. I made a backup earlier. So let's try to fix this. I mean, unhack it, okay? So at least something you can see. There we go. And we would need to do copy C Windows zhc.exe. That's the backup I made. And it needs to be copied to C Windows System 32. All right? It's fine. Override. Yes, please. I can't do that. I could do it in Windows PE. Reboot again. Go to Windows PE and fix it. It takes a long time. It's protected by what's known as Windows Resource Protection. Okay? So I can't override it. What if we change the tool? So Robocopy. Robocopy is a folder copy tool, so you do C Windows to C Windows to C Windows System 32 with a filter of just set hc.exe. Okay, well that will fail. Access denied. It's not a tool issue, okay, because it's an access issue. But I am a local admin, which means I have a privilege known as restore files or other objects. And one of the most important rules in Windows security is that you have to remember that privileges always beat permissions, which means with Robocopy, you can use the backup API, okay? And it overrides anything, all right? So whatever you need to do, you can override. I mean, that's the one great reason for not letting anyone be a local admin, because when you put a policy in, they'll override it. When you put a group policy in, they'll override it. When you put app locker rules in, they'll override it. They can do whatever they want. Very good tip for devs. They call me all the time, how do I easily replace a DLL file in program files? Take the DLL, put it in ctemp, and then do Robocopy, ctemp, cprogram files, name of DLL /b. Okay? Overrides anything. Now, let's see where we are. How did we figure out how the first logon anim works? So as last year I showed you how to replace the, this won't take long, messages. How did we actually get that information? Well, problem with Microsoft, of course, is that things like this are totally hidden. They're totally undocumented. You're not supposed to know how that happens. So there is a great tool from sysinternals. So we have first logon anim.exe here, but it's totally undocumented, so we will never know how to operate it. But strings, first logon anim.exe, dump it out to like a txt file or whatever, and it dumps out strings inside of that binary. And now might look like nothing at first, but when you start going through, you can actually find what the different parameters are, okay? Very handy for Microsoft's own stuff, many of the own stuff, because you can figure out how things work. Like everyone knows this Windows Update client, okay? We know that you can do detect now, okay? Talk to WSUS. You can say report now, so it goes back and says how did it do. You can do detect and report now, just to combine those, okay? But the best one what I've ever used is detect and report and wash my car now, okay? Not only that Windows is undocumented, but it also has no error checking, okay? What an easy operating system to work with. So strings is a very, very good tool for that. Now, let's talk about blue screens. I have actually have a slide about this as well. I put it on the slide. So it's really funny when people come to my troubleshooting courses, they usually say that the worst thing that can happen to a Windows machine is a blue screen. Which is funny for me because I actually buy these. It's a Canadian company that builds these devices. The only thing, it has one button. It's called an NMI card, Non-Maskable interrupt. And the only thing it does, if you press the button, it blue screens the box. It's a marvelous device. Okay? I use it a lot. I pay to get blue screens. So you should remember, blue screens are a good thing. They allow us to get a memory dump out of the machine. Now, nowadays, you don't have to really do this. You don't have to buy this because when we're using Hyper-V, in Hyper-V, you can send an NMI through the VM bus. Okay? So we have a machine here. And let's say this machine, what was it? Student. Okay, so let's go here. You do debug VM name, and then you put in the name of the virtual machine. So this one was student 25_4. Okay? Inject a non-maskable interrupt force. All right? Does the same thing, but goes through VM bus. All right? So you don't have to press the debug switch. Okay? So when you want to have some fun with the data center, okay? Don't try this at home. What if I teach about privileged access workstations quite a lot, how to manage environments in the proper way, the way it was meant to be, okay? Not petting your servers with RDP, okay? So doing everything from a management workstation. The privileged access workstation, the problem that I face is people call me all the time and say, we need these privileged access workstations, but we're going to run them on Hyper-V. And then they call me and I say, I don't approve. I will approve if you run your privileged access workstation on your laptop's Hyper-V. Okay? That's fine by me. But if you're going to dump them on a Hyper-V like this, then that Hyper-V better be managed by you only. So the problem many times here is your domain controllers or your privileged access workstations, they're all on a Hyper-V, but who's taking care of the Hyper-V? Many times it's like Active Directory architects who own the domain controller or the security people who own the domain controller. But who takes care of the platform? It's many times junior admins. Because people don't want to do this. This is so annoying, taking care of a platform like Hyper-V or VMware. Come on, I don't want to do that. I'm going to take care of my Active Directory here, but I don't want to do this. Things like this, people forget I could do this, but think about this even more. This is an awesome tool from sysinternals called LiveKD. Okay, LiveKD is very well known to be able to bypass the need for using debug mode in Windows, so that I could do a kernel debugging without booting the machine into debug mode. But what LiveKD does is, I actually need to go and find a debugger first. Windows Kits. It's an older one, but that doesn't matter. Okay, we'll go here. Now LiveKD, Hyper-V list, and it lists what kind of computers we have running. Let's do the first one here. Oh, actually make it fun. Let's take the domain controller. Okay, that's the DC. LiveKD-HV, or I'm not sure if it needs to be a dash, but anyway, HV student CDC1. All right? What this does is it uses the VM bus to actually make a full kernel debugging session to that domain controller. But the thing here is this guy has absolutely no idea. He can fully control what processes are running. Oops. That's not that smart. Okay, processes that are running, list all memory content. Any password you type, I own. Anything you do on that Hyper-V, go to your NetBank, I know it, okay? Full kernel debugging session with this person having absolutely no idea. It's not even pausing the machine. I mean, this has absolutely no idea that you're doing this. So don't put your privileged access workstation or your domain controller on Hyper-V that is run by a person that you don't trust, okay? It might not be that easy sometimes. No two-factor authentication. Ooh, we have no time. Okay, the last tip. Whenever you need anything, whenever you need to troubleshoot any kind of issue, people ask me, what do you need to troubleshoot? I need a procmon trace and I need a network trace, okay? Procmon trace you can do remotely with PSXSec. People many times believe procmon cannot be used remotely. You can, PSXSec, procmon, that works. And then I need a network trace, but you don't have network monitor or you don't have message analyzer. But what people forget all the time is NetSH trace can do the trace for your network monitor, message analyzer, Wireshark, whatever. So every Windows 7 and up has NetSH trace, which means you can take the trace and you can analyze it on a machine where you have installed your Wireshark, okay? So keep those there, keep them handy. All right, well, that's how far we got. Here's a picture of my hedgehog. Its name was Token. Token's lifetime is 5 to 8 years and tamper protection, hell yeah. And just to prove my point, that is actually Token, okay? So that was in Orlando last year. I just built a new 9-course learning path on Pluralsight. So if you have Pluralsight, sysinternals, 9 courses, I put a lot of effort into this. So please go and check those out. It's 9 courses. If you ask me, totally worth it. If you need free stuff, anything that I have ever done for teaching people, all my Windows internals classes, all my sysinternals classes, all my security classes, everything's online. There's a free code for you for 1 month, okay, if you want to do that. Please evaluate my session. This session had so many things that I should not have shown you that I would really appreciate your feedback, okay? Thank you so much for coming.